Good morning. I wanted to start out this live stream looking at the seasonality chart for this month, and Bitcoin is green in September. Wow, you wouldn't know it, but Bitcoin's green in September, when usually September, even in post-halving years, is not a green month. I mean, look at even 2021. Minus 7.44% in September. Huge gains every other month in 2021. Here we are, 2025. Red August, red February, red March, but gains every other month. So we'll see where we go from here, but we're green. All right, I'm going to go live on TikTok as well. This should be just a member live stream on YouTube. So let me just double check that real quick. Yep, member only live stream, but if you want to ask a question and maybe I'll be able to answer it, head over to TikTok, WWBTC5. WWBTC5. All right. So, lots of viewers already on YouTube. Well, you a little nervous? You shaking in your boots a little bit? Is it over? You thinking it's over maybe? Well, we'll see. Hello, Pinort. I don't mean to. I'm not mocking or anything, but here's my general thought right now. Good morning, Yesway Jose, GM Green Vein. Afternoon, Christian. I was thinking back to Liberation Day. Remember Liberation Day? A lot of people had that circled on their calendar. It's like, this is the bottom. This is the bottom. This is the time to buy. Buy on Liberation Day. And then what happened? We dumped for another 5 days. And that really threw me off. Those were my worst 5 days of 2025. And this seems like a repeat. Any day that you circle on your calendar. So the rate cuts was a circle on your calendar day. That seems like a day that that the powers that be would want to mess with you. You know, okay, hey, it's over. The rate cut's over. Now we can pump. Okay. Yeah, check this out. But we'll see. Loving my metals. I'm loving the metals. I'm loving the metal miners. Man, yeah. Now I do think gold is very close to a peak, a local top. But it's still climbing. Wow. Yeah, I thought maybe 3,600 was going to be a local top. It's at 3,783. That is not a good sign for inflation and all that. I made DCA until I found the bottom. Okay, hello, Bull. Hi, Anthony. So gold. What typically happens in something like this is just like a final short squeeze and then a move down. That's what I think is going to happen with gold. Thinking 5K and 65 for silver. Cryptoholic, thanks for the follow. 5K for gold when? I mean, I'm definitely thinking 5K for gold, but I don't think in 2025 or 2026. Not even 2026. $65 for silver. Here's what I would say with a lot of confidence is going to happen for silver. You know, we're in the middle of a 45-year cup and handle for silver, and it will face some resistance, some heavy resistance at $50. There's no doubt about that. So you're thinking 2026? I don't think so. I know that gold is scorching hot and everything, but you might be right. But I think that's a little too soon. I mean, listen, I think over $10,000 an ounce for gold at some point, maybe even this decade, but I think it's more of a longer timeline with gold. So I've been out for a business trip, so how's it going? You, the markets? Yeah, listen, we had something similar to what I would say would be Liberation Day, where we circled Liberation Day on our calendars like, okay, this is going to be the bottom. And then it wasn't the bottom. We dumped for 5 more days. And it was really scary. And so maybe this is something similar. September, it's September. I wake me up when September ends. That's a thing. And September in crypto, especially, in Bitcoin, is always bad, but we're up for September. I think a lot of people were expecting a red month for September. In 2021, a lot of people were saying it was over in September. And then we rallied. We went from under $40,000 to $69,000, and that was the peak. So, yeah, what's going on for today? That's what's going on. Not sure if I should be buying some pudgy penguins, but I got some. Are you talking about the NFTs or the crypto? I'm in favor of buying the crypto. I know for sure. Like, all right, a lot of these cryptos, just like I said, threw people off, but yeah, definitely in favor of buying some Pengu. Let's see. I doubled up on, or I didn't double up. I loaded up more on Avalanche yesterday. That's my biggest play right now. And, I got some grief from some people, from one person who's like, I thought you said now's the time to buy altcoins. And here we are, we dumped, laughing while crying emoji. And the two biggest altcoin plays that I had were Avalanche and Near. I'm up on both. So, I did say, right now it's 11 through 50 in market cap. That's all I'm touching. And random meme coin plays. Trump to speak today should move market. I don't know. Maybe, or maybe it'll be nothing. So. Thoughts on Aster? Who knows, man? I don't know what to make of Aster. I bought like $100 worth just to be a part of the show, part of the party. Oh wow! All right, it's $1.94. Yeah, maybe this thing has much higher to go. What's the market cap? Market cap's a few billion, but if it's gonna do like what Hyperliquid did, Hyperliquid is now the 11th largest or 12th largest crypto in the world. So there's a long way to go for Hyperliquid, or for Aster to even get a fraction of what Hyperliquid did. That's very bullish for BNB, by the way. So I've been printing on Binance. BNB looks really good. Anyway, bought gold at 400 and silver at $7 in 2001. There we go. Bullish or bearish? Right now I'm a bull. Especially Russell 2000's breaking out. I really think that dump over the weekend was just a scam dump. Russell 2000's breaking out. Altcoin market cap hit a new all-time high. So we had a rejection off that all-time high with the altcoin market cap. But I'm looking at the total 2 chart. There's nothing scary about this chart. We bounced off the 50-day EMA. We're holding it as support. Now, Bitcoin doesn't look nearly as good as a lot of other charts. But if we're talking about altcoins, oh, man, thoughts on AVNT. Jesse, I don't know what to say. Look at this chart. It's a few days old. This could, I can't give any analysis, and I don't know anything about it fundamentally. I was reading an article from someone legit in the market say expecting 9K for SPY in 2026. Honestly, SPY at 9K. SPY at 9K. That seems crazy when it's at 66.94. Well, that doesn't seem all that crazy. But listen, guys, 1.5 week left in September. When we had that V-shaped recovery in the stock market, in crypto, I was of a mindset, I can see this being much more likely in stocks than in crypto. I was thinking 1999. What happened in 1999? The NASDAQ more than doubled in 1999. And I was comparing that dump to 1998. We had a similar dump where it felt like it was over, but then we had a V-shaped recovery and we're off to the races. The S&P 500, the NASDAQ, even now, the Russell 2000, they all look like there's no stopping them short term. Not even medium term, like for the next several months. Now, what does that mean for crypto? In general, that should mean we're bullish for crypto. But I mean, I know the last few days have been really, really frustrating for crypto. So any BNB chain memes that stick out to you? Oh man, honestly, John, I have no idea. I haven't bought a BNB meme in a long time. So love AVAX, thinking 3X. Yeah, somewhere around there. So boring, everything every day hit new all-time high and crypto trash. Yeah, pretty much. You know, I mean, if you could go back to 2020, early 2024, it's like you just bought stocks. You'd probably be doing a lot better right now. I know a lot of you would. So what are you going to do? You're buying something that you know is going to be worth zero one day. That's a part of it. That's a part of the risk. Good afternoon, Crowman. We still thinking ETH to 7K? Yeah. Tell me more about AVAX. I just think AVAX, I like the chart. That's what I'll tell you about AVAX. You know, it seems to be following along with the projection I made pretty well. And it did break out. When I saw it break $26, it's at 34 right now. I saw it break $26. I was like, this looks very bullish. And it's recovered very well after that weekend dump. I would think it would be a no-brainer for AVAX to double from here. But even after that, you know, I could see $100. I could see it going over $100. So 1.94. Wow, I entered in 1.5. So good. 1.94. I don't know. I'm sure I was talking about something at 1.94. I have no idea what it was. Thoughts on sushi? I'm probably not going to like this chart. Yeah, not yet. I mean, well, you know, it did break above the 200-day, but then it lost support there. Can it reclaim the 200-day? I don't know. I'm not touching Sushi Swap. I think it's moving because airdrop announcement. Oh, okay. All right. So that's what Bull's referring to. Yeah. All right. Airdrop announcement. Okay. You know, I like I said, I only bought $100 worth. I bought $100 worth at like almost the peak a few days ago. So IMO. Gus, what's IMO? Let me look at IMX. That chart, last I checked, that chart looked pretty good, but, you know, big dump recently. Oh, yeah. All right, so IMX, you know, might be finding support right now. 64.4 cents is a level that was resistance for a while, and I wouldn't be surprised if it bounced off of there. So 64.4 cents would be, I think, a good entry on IMX. What do you think about XCN? XCN seems to be one of those cryptos that will just murder you, and then all of a sudden it'll pump out of nowhere. And yeah, the chart looks terrible. I'm sorry, you bought where? 2 cents? It's at a little over a penny. I mean, it can't really go all that much lower. That's the thing. So I'd hold on to it. But morning, Sambo. Did you see Axelar with Midas? I have no idea what you're talking about, Shamos. So yeah, AVAX also showed strength. Tau, another time, man. Tau has given very good entries, and yet I'm still being lazy, I guess. I don't know what the word is, but now every time it bounces off support, that support could get weaker, but 305.15 is the level that it bounced perfectly. It bounced beautifully off that level 2 times now, and I'm just like asleep at the wheel. So the third time, I'm not sure. Too many coins water down the market. Yeah, I've heard that hypothesis many times before. But I called, you know, I told you guys 2025 was going to be rough. And it's not as rough as I actually thought it was going to be. I'll admit that. In some ways I was wrong. But like in my hypothesis had nothing to do with too many coins watering down the market. You know, and especially when my focus is on top 50 cryptos right now. And there are only ever going to be 50 cryptos in the top 50. You know, so And then within the top 50, it's like, oh geez, that's all. I don't really care as much about newer utility cryptos in the top 50. So DOT, I did draw somewhat of a trend line here, and it looks like it bounced perfectly off of that. I think DOT's at a good level to get in on right now. So let me look at VeChain. VeChain, yeah, Rob, I'm really bummed about. I mean, VeChain can certainly bounce back, but I was hoping that VeChain would be about ready to break through some resistance here at 0.02655, and it got rejected there again. So now, and even, you could say that VeChain's put in a lower low, or you could just call this like a triple bottom or something with VeChain's chart. I am not of the mindset, if we are in a new downtrend with VeChain, which I would not claim that yet. I would find it hard to believe that it would go back down to 0.019, but if it did, I'd be back in the truck up on that. So, hello, Amir. Quant bearish or bullish? I guess in general bullish. Another one, man. I had some projections. It followed projection B. And if I was paying attention, I would have loaded up at $88.14. Except it got down to what, $88.15? It got down to 88.20. So I would have missed it by a few pennies. But now, now that's the level that I was eyeing. And now I'd say it's not a bad idea to get in on some quant. Aster. Yep. Entry for AVAX. I mean, you already had a really good entry yesterday, and now I don't know what to say. 32.77 was where I had my eyes on. It did wick really hard below there, but man, what a recovery for Avalanche. So now I don't know. 32.70, it could go back to 32.77. Solana entries. Rec on Sol. Thank you, Ivan. I'll check out that in a second. Solana might be a little bit more difficult. I mean, in general, I'd say now, after that kind of a dump, maybe it would go back down to the 786. That would be $205, $206, $205, something like that. So, but we'll see. I tend to think not for Solana that it would go down there. I'm not trying to time to get a perfect bottom with Solana, but if there were one, maybe a wick down to 206. I'm scared that means it's time to buy. I was a little nervous yesterday, but I did just make a video just thinking like, man, Russell 2000 is now in all-time high territory. We are seeing signs of breadth in the market. I really think, we're talking about a dump that happened at what, 2 a.m. Eastern time, United States, 2 a.m. New York time, on a Monday morning, Sunday going into Monday. That sounds like a scam to me. Let's see. All right, rec on Solana. What is rec? All right, it's not on TradingView. Let me look on Dex Screener. Thank you, John. I'm assuming this is pretty new, so I'm not going to really be able to give much insight into it. And it's a $1.6 million market cap. I'm sorry, man. I know you spent $2 on that super chat. What can I say about this? $70,000 volume. I don't know anything about this. What is this? Real estate crypto. So it's an RWA. So, maybe there's some potential, or maybe it's just vaporware. I'm not loving this chart that I'm seeing right now. There's nothing that I can do with this. I mean, with that kind of volume, like I could buy $5,000 of this right now, and that would be 1/10 of the daily volume. That's I do apologize about that. Binance liquidating a bunch, yeah. What happened to Pepe? I don't know. What's up with Pepe? I mean, nothing happened. I mean, I'm assuming Pepe went down. Okay, so Interesting here. Maybe it's going to back test the breakout of its downtrend. I don't think so, though. I think Pepe meme coins are just, they're so out right now. And that's a good thing. There will be a time when meme coins have their moment, but that time is not now. And what we need first is utilities and larger cap utilities to pump. And then we need your grandma, your Uber driver, and your barber to hop on in and buy the meme coins. And then Pepe will do something. Hello, Sen and Pleasures by Lena. What about the penguins? Are you talking about penguins? Is the bull run still on? It's September. September is going to give you moments like this where you ask, is the bull run still on? I would even say that there's a potential. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Thank you, Lena. I apologize in advance, but I'm remembering 2024, October. We didn't really, October was just a repeat of September until October 11th. So October 11th of 2024, that's when things pumped. But that first week, those first 10 days of October, I called for Uptober and I ended up being right. But those first 10 days, it was like, bro, I thought you said we were going to have Uptober. What's going on? Oh, blah, 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 and here we are. And so that might be the case for the first 10 days of October this year. On Friday, you told Ski you're able to identify profit-taking levels. What? I told Ski I'm able to identify profit-taking levels. I'm not much of a profit-taking levels guy, Rob. I don't remember what I said. I'm sorry, I have no idea. I said I might have said I should be more of that. I mean, Ski has his profit-taking levels for sure. He's much more on point with that than I am. I remember that about October. Yeah. October did not start out well, and people were confused. Bro, what's the odds for staking being turned on for ETH? I don't know. I haven't paid attention to that. That would be bullish. Is Bepe still a buy? At some point, yes. But everything that I just said about meme coins, like WIF, asking about WIF, meme coins are like the older ones at least. There's always going to be some hot new meme coin play. But the older ones are just going to continue to bleed until we see that rotation happen, which we are still in the middle of that. Levels at which there is likely to be more market action. I can't remember your exact words. Oh, foregone. So I mentioned something about the Russell 2000. Russell 2000 looks good today. Maybe with total too, maybe with Ethereum hitting an all-time high and actually being there, like holding an all-time high for Ethereum. Which, unfortunately, we're just kind of in a range right now. You could even see some kind of Wyckoff reaccumulation going on here. So on the other side of an all-time high and holding that, there's going to be a lot more action. Word along Uni. Foregone gave me a super chat on a different channel that I will not recommend those on TikTok to check out. All right, Uniswap. 816. Oh man, 786. There it is. Another one that I wish I was paying attention to. So can it get there again? Sure. $7.86. That's your entry. I have a hard time believing that it would spend any significant amount of time below 786 for the short term. ETH hit its bottom. I mean, looking at the ETH chart, could there be a spring moment like I said, Wyckoff reaccumulation? A spring moment where the bears are running victory laps and they're like, oh, look, I told you it's over. And what would that spring moment be? Maybe a very brief move under $4,000. Maybe. We'll see. But, I'm bullish going into October. I got some pudgy penguins today. Man, lots of people got pudgy penguins. Okay. Thoughts on ICP? ICP looks terrible. Man, and at the same time, can it really go that much lower? It's right now, it's gotten as low as its April 7th bottom. So what do you do with ICP? I mean, you know, it's probably not a bad idea to buy some ICP for a scalp at least. It's right there. It's insane, man. Let me extend this fib chart. It got to that exact same point. I am new to crypto. Is XRP a good investment? What do you want? What do you want? Do you want, you're new to crypto, does that mean you want to 100x your portfolio? If so, then no, XRP is a terrible investment. Are we talking about risk to reward right now? Risk to reward, I would say it's favorable for XRP. It's holding the 100-day EMA, which is the same thing that it did earlier in September, late October, early September. So risk to reward's in your favor right now. I would say right now the play is more cryptos outside of the top 10 in market cap. So I think you'll get better rates of return, you know, somewhere between 11 and 50 ranked in market cap. So, all right, sorry, I can't explain. Can you explain why $7.86 foregone? On my YouTube channel, you could see the levels. I drew these levels out a long time ago, and it held it perfectly. You know, we did wick below that, but that level held perfectly. So that's a good risk to reward level. Are you still on your long for ICP, or did you get stopped out? I unfortunately am still in it. Yeah, it was a 2x long, or was it 1x? It was one of those two. So it's just like, it's pretty much like holding spot. I have 5 pudgy penguins action figures from Walmart. Okay. Do you think Bitcoin will catch up to the S&P 500 soon? In some regards, yes. Okay. Like, you know, Bull was just on here commenting how he heard, what is that? I did not mean to do that. That he heard someone legitimate talking about $9,000 S&P 500 this year, or not this year, in 2026. And I mean, looking at the chart that I'm looking at right now, it's the S&P 500 is mega bullish. Okay. So even if Bitcoin just rises in general, but doesn't keep up with the S&P, that means new all-time highs for Bitcoin, which also means like altcoins doing very well because Bitcoin dominance is in a bear market right now. So anyway, everyone calling for 150 Bitcoin top. I would not convert ICP to VeChain right now. No. Thank you, Sean, for the follow. That's why it's going to 330K. Thoughts? In 2027, Bitcoin will go beyond 330K. I know, whoa, 4-year halving cycle. Bro, what about the 4-year halving cycle? Okay, all right. Yeah. How's that 4-year halving cycle worked for you in 2025? This was supposed to be the year that you were going to make your millions, right? And I'm not necessarily saying this to you, Jay, but just I'm kind of mocking everybody with this whole 4-year halving cycle. Was 2025 is going to be the golden bull. All right. Yeah. How's that worked out? So I bring up 2027, and I know some of you are still thinking like, wait a second, that can't be that's the bear market. All right. We'll see about that. NMR, numeraire. Thank you, Sean, for the follow. This looks, I don't know what to say about NMR. I told you Bitcoin to 95 CME gap. Okay, it's not going to 95. So, all right, it's at 112 right now. You're telling me you told me about 95. All right. You know, I mean, who knows? Maybe you're right. If it goes to 95, I would think that Bitcoin has peaked for 2025 and probably the first part of 2026, maybe the first half of 2026. So, all right. So NMR numeraire looks super manipulated. That's what I'll say about that. I wouldn't touch it at all. That was an Evercore executive that talked about the S&P to 500, S&P to 9K in 2026. All right. It is plausible. When do you think alts start running? How about October? That's not enough to invalidate the 4-year cycle. That made no sense. What's that, C Machinery? I don't know what that is. Jasmy. What do I think about Jasmy? Another one that if I was paying attention, I would have I would have entered it along. Now, I mean, Jasmy, you know, it bounced off of another key level of support, 0.01228. But I mean, the chart does not look good right now for Jasmy. But again, you know, I'm a bull going in October. It's one of those things. Hey guys, give me a minute. I need to troll somebody on Facebook. I'm getting into a debate with somebody about is Charlie Kirk a racist? So all right, my wife got into it with her. So give me a second. All right, no, actually, I'm not going to, since my wife got into it with her. Actually, no, I am. I will. All right, I want to read this. I'm going to read this to you guys. So-and-so, it's kind of racist that you as a white woman would feel the need to educate me as a black man on racism. All right, let's move on. Geez, they should just watch the videos of his on-campus debates. I mean, whatever. People are going to think what they think. Thanks, Mandy. That's not even debatable. All right, so are we going to argue on here, or what do you think, Lyndon? Are you saying that he's a racist or not? Because I am of the opinion that that he's not a racist, and I've gotten into heated arguments, especially with family members. So, yeah, all right, I would assume Mandy. Yeah, 100%. Okay, Lyndon. Yeah, he's a total racist. Here's the thing. All right, we're just going to talk about this for a minute, and then I'm going to move on. He wanted what was best for black people. Okay. But he said things that I know for sure people were offended by. And so I think people, what they're doing is they're confusing offense with racism. That's the thing. Okay. What? Yeah. Okay. He absolutely wanted what was best for black people. He wanted them to thrive. My goodness, man. Drinking the Kool-Aid. Not a racist, but controlled by Israel. Did he, I don't remember, but did he kind of admit that they were going to gun for him? All right, let's move on. What do you think of it? Lyndon, I'm assuming you're white. Do you have any black friends? That's something that I would guess. That's something I would want to know. He didn't want black pilots. All right, this is the last thing. All right. One of my best friends is a pilot, and he almost got fired for saying, he's not white. He almost got fired for saying some conservative stuff on X. And I'm convinced a reason why they didn't fire him is because of their DEI quota, okay? So, all right, let's move on. He's no longer relevant. He's actually very relevant. Let's move on. Hey, I want to move on. All right. So I'm not going to respond to any more Charlie Kirk comments, except to tell you that, some of you are very wrong about him. Ay, ay, ay. All right. Let's get rid of that. So Epic, another one that bounced off support. I mean, man, I'll be honest. I needed to do a reset here. Oh, you're black. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Yeah, you're like my family members then. Now Epic did bounce off support. It's just, I mean, man, the market did a 180, or the market threw us off this past week. So let's see what happens with Epic and all these altcoins. Let's see. Is OP a good project to accumulate in the bear market? I don't know. I'm really hesitant to buy all that much new utility. Now, sure, Optimism doesn't look like it's holding up pretty decent over these last few days. But yeah, bear market, I wouldn't touch OP in the bear market. Yvonne, Kita, my brother-in-law is asking for an entry on Link. That should be an easy one. So let me get to Link here. Ah, man, I did enter Link. $20.89 was a perfect entry and it filled. So now I don't know. I mean, it could go back down there. Thanks again, Yvonne, for the super chat. So Kita's holding up pretty well. I mean, it's another one that's just too new. You're asking me, Yvonne, and you're sending me super chats for these cryptos that it's like a lot of these are so new. But you can see the floor here is, I missed a 20 to 50 entry on Link. Okay. The floor is rising with Kita, and I did kind of draw something like this the last time I looked at the chart. So maybe it'll just keep on holding the floor. Maybe Kita's a decent one to enter right at this moment. What would be a good indicator that we could pump into 2026? And do you think that could be a narrative similar to super cycle or to be a bag holder? John, thanks for that super chat. I hope you didn't try chatting something. I don't know what a good indicator would be that we could pump into 2026, Izzy. I think we just need to follow the lead of the market in some ways, If I hate to say it, but like if crypto is just steadily climbing, it's slowly climbing, but it's not exploding, we're just still raising the floor in total 2 and total 3, and we don't see really all that many signs of weakness, then I'd have no problem thinking we're going to continue to go into 2026. Which projects will you be accumulating in the bear market next cycle? A lot of ISOs. I think it'll be time for ISOs to do really well the following, whatever that next bull run looks like. So, XRP, HBAR, those would probably be two big ones. Render's real world use case is legit. So I'd probably be buying some Render. Obviously, HEEHEE, obviously Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, for sure. MicroStrategy went down to $13 and went, I think, above 500 or 400, something like that. And so I made the mistake. I bought a lot of Bitcoin miners. I bought Riot Blockchain and Marathon, and MicroStrategy blew those out of the water in terms of the return. So there's probably some others. Do you think I should DCA now? Or maybe wait 2 to 3 weeks. I think DCAing now is a good idea after the moves down that we've seen over the last few days here. So everything will collapse in Q1 2026. I mean, given where we are with altcoins and given where we are with Bitcoin dominance, I can see that being the case for altcoins. that we do peak in late 2025, and then we dump in 2026. With the stock market, I think it's going to be a little bit longer than Q1 2026. So LCX, it looks primed. Let's see. Oh man. So I'm pleasantly surprised that LCX held up as well as it did. Does it look primed? I mean, the fact that it held up as well as it did, that looks pretty good. Now I'm not saying it's primed, but I'm impressed the way that it's held up. If DXY doesn't break support, we are all cooked. What support? What is? I'm asking a question here, and I'm asking a question that I'm not entirely sure what the answer is. You know, because I've seen people draw a trend line from 2011 to today, and if that's the trend line you're basing it off of, let me see if I can draw this here. You know, we might have already lost support. What's the support? I guess I need more answers. Say, you know, actually, oh. All right, so I did draw a projection. I was hoping, this was a hopeful projection. I like Say right now. So I was hoping that Say would break through this. It's a wedge that goes back to July. It did not. So the scenario I have on my screen for those able to watch it was that Say would break through and then back test and move higher. Instead, it went down to the bottom of a wedge and held it beautifully. Man, there's a lot of chart setups that I'm really liking as I'm looking at charts right now. Say is one of them. Quant, and yesterday was the best time. Today is probably okay. So why no YouTube videos lately? Just life. I'm sorry, man. I really should be making more YouTube videos. Things have gotten in the way. Where do you think Rose will go? I don't know. Rose holding up pretty decent. It's funny looking at these charts, man, because a lot of them look fine. You know, it's just like it's so funny when I get nervous about things. A lot of the times, all I need to do is just look at charts, and then that calms my nerves. So Rismus 9x October, November. Rismus has been depressing the last month, but here's the deal. We got way too ahead of ourselves with Rismus in late August, early September. And all we're doing right now is I think we're going to just back test the previous accumulation zone, which is around a little under $5 million market cap. So I think Rismus is going to be a great play in October, November. Yeah. Thank you, Crypto Caddy. Oh my goodness. All right. AVAX has been strong. Yeah, I looked at AVAX. I doubled down on AVAX yesterday. So Avalanche. I bought some under $30. No, under 30, like a little over $30. So I'm really happy with that purchase. I now have, I've been wanting a bag of Avalanche about the sizes of my Dogecoin and Sui bags. My Dogecoin and Sui bags are about somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000. That's a comfortable, if I'm just looking for a 2X or a 3X, that's kind of where I want to be with, and so Avalanche, I think I'm up to 5,000 now. So, and yesterday gave me that opportunity to load up. I bought that with a lot of conviction. All right, so Zebek. Huh. You know, I was expecting a more disappointing chart, but you can see a theme with Zebek. It is holding It's the bull market support band, either the 20-week SMA or the 21-week EMA. Yesterday, it bounced off the 21-week EMA. So I wouldn't call necessarily for like a big cup and handle here, but Zebek might be close to a bottom. I would expect it to go higher. I mean, it's just, I think Zebek is really going to struggle with consolidation given the fact that it pumped so hard in May and in June. So Trump speech at 9:50, 9:50 Central. It's 10:10 where I am. Ben Cohen right. About what? Now I saw that Ben Cohen was calling for Ethereum to go to like $3,100. If that's true, I think he's wrong about that. I've heard that he called for Bitcoin dominance to go up to 60%. And I see that could be plausible. A lower high for Bitcoin dominance, sure. That's not that much. I mean, it's a 1.5% higher than where it is right now. Now, the question would be if Bitcoin dominance got to 60%, would that mean that altcoins would get obliterated? I would think so under his scenario at least. But what I think would happen is that Ethereum would break into an all-time high and get into price discovery and then do a really hard dump and back test its previous all-time high. And that would cause Bitcoin dominance to get up to 60%, but I don't know. So Benjamin Cohen's been very helpful this cycle. I will fully admit that. I don't watch any of his videos, but I am able to glean some of his thoughts. And there is going to be a point when it will make sense more to listen to the Moon Boys than Benjamin Cohen. We're not there yet, but there will be a point when it will make sense to listen to the Moon Boys more. And the reason why is I know Benjamin Cohen pretty well in one regard, and that is he is going to do everything to protect himself and to not look stupid. So he's always going to err on the side of caution when we get into euphoria, whenever euphoria comes. And so he'll be the voice of reason, when really when he's the voice of reason, whenever the time comes so that we just need to be locked in and we need to be really aggressive, I think Benjamin Cohen will actually do you a little bit of a disservice and will prevent you from making some pretty significant gains. So we getting close, 60.34%. Okay. Do you think we see more blood before going green? Yesterday was pretty scary. Yesterday, I think, caused a lot of people to be like, oh no, it's over. But as I'm looking at these charts during this live stream, I'm seeing a lot of cryptos that bounced off support very well. All right, including Bitcoin, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, there were some other ones, Jasmy, Chainlink, Quant. And so, and I would say these levels, Uniswap, these levels are levels that, like, if we went below those levels, I'd be very concerned that it would actually be over, which makes me think that no, those levels are levels of support and they're going to hold. So that's my thought, actually, that no, where yesterday was a local bottom. There's always shenanigans that can happen in September. I fully admit that. But just looking at these levels that all these cryptos bounced off of, it makes sense to me, that honestly, if we lost all those levels, I'd be really nervous. So anyway, you forgot to say LCX to $50. Yeah. I'm going to take a selfie every day and post it on X. Let's see. GM Jamie. Epic Chain buying the dip, very undervalued. Another one that bounced off support. Thoughts on Zebek big announcement today? I have no idea what Zebek announcement's going on. Not at 1,000. I'm not selling. Okay. Sonic after unlock. Let me look up FTM. Ugh, I mean, FTM's chart looks terrible. I don't know what to say, you know? Or Sonic. You want to call it Sonic? I mean, it is called Sonic now. I don't know what to say, man. It's like, sure. It is close to its bottom, but I don't want any of this. Ondo and Vet, you think a good entry? Vet, yes. I mean, Vet in general, I just DCA Vet, not financial advice. Ondo, I'm very curious to see what's up with Ondo. Oh, man. All right, false breakout. But another one, you know, I was hoping that Ondo was going to, you know, have a breakout, bounce off of its trend line and then move from there, but instead it was a false breakout. False breakouts and false breakdowns are so annoying. And it looks like it's back to the bottom of its range, so Ondo is a decent entry right now. Let's see. PC on Friday plus Powell speaking today. These things could cause swings. Sure. Always. There's always something. I think the worst is behind us, though. I have to leave a little bit soon. I have about 8 minutes left. I got some stuff to do. You know, why am I not been making YouTube videos lately? I just got stuff to do, man. Life. 7 kids. Lots of responsibility in my life. So, had a scare today. My wife texted me and said that my middle child was not in the van when she dropped them off at school, and so she was afraid that she left him at home. And so then my mother-in-law, like I was in a panic. My mother-in-law, she lives pretty close. She drove to our home, and he wasn't there. And then my wife called the school, and he was at school. It's like a daily heart attack. XRP, 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 XRP. Will XRP price go down after ETFs? The ETFs are going to be a nothing burger with XRP. Yeah, Russell's pumping. That's why a big reason why I'm not sweating right now. Deutschmark Bank using Zebek. Okay. I just don't. I don't really care about news. I just don't. But that sounds good. How's Polygon looking? Yeah, that dumped really hard yesterday. Let me look at Polygon. You know, held support at the 200-day at least. Maybe that's support. I wouldn't mind just buying a little bit of Polygon right now. Thank God. Yeah, thank God he was at school. That nothing. It's so ridiculous. You'd go crazy. I'm happy to have 7 kids. Bro, whose fault was it, your son or his mom? I'm not going to blame my wife. I am not going to blame my wife. She has plenty to juggle. All right, what's up with Story IP? Oh my goodness, man. It's going vertical. This is a top 50 crypto, FYI. So like, I wouldn't buy IP. I would just say I've missed the boat. I'd wait for it to consolidate a little bit. But it's already a top 50 crypto. I wouldn't touch it. But, you know, can it go higher? Sure, man, it could go higher. You said the start of this year that there won't be a bull run in 2025. You could be right. When I saw the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ put in a V-shaped recovery, my perspective entirely changed. Now, what do you mean by a bull run? Because like Total 2 broke an all-time high last week, so I'm not right. I wasn't right earlier this year. Now, you know, if you sold in December and then just never came back, you'd probably be not kicking yourself all that much. So what are we doing? Titus, thanks for the follow. Oh, Arbitrum. Let me look at Arbitrum. RM, I bought a little bit of Aster. Like I bought $100 worth of Aster, and I bought it pretty close to its peak over the weekend, and it's higher now than when I bought it. But I'm not. Yeah, I missed the boat on that one. Like if I bought it the first time somebody mentioned it, I'd be doing very well right now, even with a $100 purchase. All right, so Arbitrum, another one that just bounced off the 200-day moving average, so maybe that's support. You know what? Yeah, Arbitrum might be really good right now. I just kind of missed this. So there's a gap that Arbitrum filled. It filled it beautifully. And so now, you know, Arb might be ready to start climbing. I almost sounded like a seal there. Arb. Are you streaming multiple places now? Ish. I need to plead the fifth on that one. Joe, this is a new account. My main account got banned because somebody reported all my old videos, and TikTok, it triggered something in TikTok, and now he wants me to pay him $3,000 to get my account unbanned, and I'm like, no. Euphoria. Oh, Euphoria. Hey, yeah, maybe we won't hit Euphoria in 2025. How do you feel about Axelar? Not amazing. I mean, just looking at the chart, I mean, sure, you could call this deep accumulation, whatever, you know. I'm not in love with the chart. Are we all going to make it? Absolutely not. No. We are not all of us? No. Here's what's going to happen. Let's say that we hit pandemonium. Let's say we hit just absolute euphoria. I would be surprised if half of us in this live stream right now made it. Like I would be surprised. I think what would happen, most of us, and maybe, you know, myself included here, I think I'll be able to navigate that okay. I'll have some regrets for sure, but like most of us are not going to make it. We're going to fumble the bag. We're going to make the kind of mistakes that people make when they come upon sudden wealth. You know, 10% of us will make it. Yeah, maybe. You have a much better chance than those who enter my live stream when there's 1,000 people in the live stream. I'll grant you that. Crypto chick got her main account hijacked and tried to ransom the page. Man, the problem is that some people actually paid this guy, and I don't need the reason why they paid him is because they get paid money to promote the cryptos and like, you know, I've done plenty of promotions, but I don't need. I can make money. I don't need my TikTok account to make money. You know, I'll trade. My stock account's doing pretty well right now. If I need an emergency fund, I trade options. I sell covered calls and I sell cash secured puts and collect premium on that. So, when's the last time you had 1,000 viewers? March of 2024. How do they fumble the bag? Here's what happens. This kind of happened to me in 2021. I ended up winning in 2021, but you know, my portfolio was probably 3/8 of what it was at its peak when I finally cashed out. We want to talk about regret? Yeah, there's some regret there. Here's how people fumble the bag. They don't sell because they'll listen to the people who tell them what they want to hear. You know, when there are signs that, hey, we have reached euphoria. We've reached the mountaintop. It's only down from here. There's going to be a loud majority of people screaming that we have much higher to go. And so they won't take any profits at all. And if they do take profits, they'll roll it into some junk coin that they're convinced is going to 1000x. And they won't be satisfied. Like, let's say you have a number. Let's say that you have $10,000 or something right now, and you see that turn into $100,000. And let's say that that's your goal. Once I get to $100,000, I'm going to cash out. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get to $100,000, and you're going to be thinking about $1 million. And all right. And then you're going to turn that $100,000 because it's all stuff that's going to go down 99%. You started out with $10,000. You took it to $100,000. That'll end up being worth $1,000. Your initial $10,000 investment. I saw somebody, not that I knew this person personally. He got to $20 million in 2021. And he thought to himself, if this gets to 10 million, I'll cash out and I'll be done. And at the end, his portfolio was well under $1 million. $20 million. That's what some of you are going to do. And selling, I'm telling you guys, this is it for me after this question. Selling is painful when you're convinced it's going to go a lot higher. It is the hardest thing to do. Like, I remember selling in March of 2024 with tears in my eyes. I mean, not literally, but I was like, I thought we were going higher in March of 2024, And I sold half of my bag between February and April. And it hurt so much because I was like, man, if I don't sell, I'll be a multimillionaire. But no, I sold the peak. So anyway, I'm done. Got to go. Thank you, Titus. Set your sell levels and stick to it. That's right. Why did you sell instead of holding? Because that's what you got to do. I don't know what to say, man. What are you talking about? Why do you sell instead of holding? Because you got to sell, man. You got to sell. And I am the definition of paper hands, but paper is too, thank you guys. Paper is too strong of a substance for me. I'm lettuce hands, man. All right, see you guys. Why did you sell the top? Oh, because I was in profit. I wanted to sell.